here on HQ Spotlight. Let's talk about the NFC East and those standings. Of course, the Eagles sitting at the top of it at 4-1, despite everybody concerned about what's not working for their offense. They currently have the shortest odds to win it at -220, followed by the Commanders at 3-2 this year. Jaden Daniels been a little banged up this year, but Marcus Mariota has managed. And then, of course, my Cowboys, looking at that tie every time just gets me. They are ahead of the Giants, though, at 1-4. We've got our NFL crew of Emory Hunt and Bryant McFadden joining us to talk about the biggest questions that we have regarding the NFC East. And guys, you know I'm starting with my Cowboys. We talked a little bit about it before, but the biggest question has been that defense. What steps do they need to take in order to be successful against Carolina this Sunday?
Yeah, for me, that's the biggest question mark with this team in the first quarter of the season. Can the defense get a little bit better? I don't expect for them to match the same production that we're seeing from the offense, because the offense, they have a lot of dudes. Even without CD Lamb, clearly they have more playmakers on that side of the football field than the defensive side. I just need timely stops from their defense, because if they can do that, they will be in positions to win more so than lose. Their offense, they're averaging around 30 points per ball game. Defense, they're allowing 30 points per ball game. That's not winning football. So I just need to see them in a four-quarter ball game just get the necessary stops, the timely stops they need to be able to give Dak Prescott and the boys the extra possessions to do what they've been doing so far this season, which has been scoring a lot of points.
B-Mac is absolutely right. When you think about some of the high-octane offenses in NFL history, you talk about the St. Louis Rams, the greatest show on turf. You think about the 2009 Saints. The Rams defense was 15th in the NFL. Saints defense is around that 15, 16 mark. So you don't have to have the best defense to get to where you want to be in the end. You just have to get those timely stops, and a lot of those timely stops should come in the second half. So if Dallas, with how they're running the football, with how they're throwing the football, Dak Prescott playing at an MVP level, if they can get 2 to 3 stops in the second half per game, that's enough to give them a two-score cushion, which should be enough for them to climb back up the standings and into the thick of this NFC East race and definitely the playoff race.
Just been a tale of two different performances from both of those units. You've got the offense leading the league in yards, and you've also got the defense leading and giving up the most yards. So just a little bit more we're asking from America's team as they take on the Panthers on Sunday. Let's talk about the Washington Commanders, fellas. We know that Jaden Daniels been a little bit banged up, but Marcus Mariota has been serviceable to this point. Emory, they've got the Bears on the schedule. We all remember the Bears game from a year ago, the Hail Mary and all the drama that came with it here. Curious, though, what questions do you have about Dan Quinn's crew before kickoff in that one?
It's the running game, and can they be consistent throughout the course of the season? That's the one element of Washington's offense they have truly left to unlock, and I think that could be something that we can look forward to seeing at the rest of the way. It depends on who's going to be the guy. If it's going to be Bill Krosky-Merritt, the rookie out of Arizona / New Mexico, then let that be the guy, because anytime you pair an explosive tailback next to a dual threat quarterback, the run game is going to just shoot into the stratosphere. So we know teams are going to play Jaden Daniels differently, and we know they're going to have some advantageous passing windows. But if they can run the football whenever they want to with some explosiveness, man, this offense has a chance to really take flight.
Yeah, for me, it's about getting healthy and staying healthy. That is the key question for me with this team, because they're a playoff caliber team when healthy. But clearly we've seen when they've been dealing with injuries, they're not at their best, especially at the quarterback position with Jaden Daniels. You talked about the concerns in the running game. Well, when Jaden Daniels is fully healthy, he is a +1 in the running game. He's another added playmaker when it comes to that side of the football field, which is needed with Austin Eckler being on injured reserve. So me personally, it's about trying to get healthy and stay healthy. Hopefully they get Terry McLaurin back into the lineup. He's missed the last few weeks because their offense, especially the passing game, is better. So it's all about health with me. I think when they're healthy, they're one of the top teams in terms of the playoff conversation that you have to involve in those said talks when they are healthy.
You got to be healthy and you got to be consistent, and that is something the Giants have not been this year. Of course, the roller coaster we saw took a major dip down in New York for the G-men with rookie quarterback Jaxson. He finished that game, fellas, with 5 straight drives ending in a turnover, so not good there. It was a far cry from what we saw from the dancing Jaxson a week before that beat up on the Chargers. So I think, B-Mac, the natural question here for this one is which version of Jaxson is going to show up?
That's the question. That's the question. You talked about his first start, Haley. He was dancing, smiling, two-stepping up and down, Billy Rock. Whatever it was they were doing in MetLife, they were having fun doing it. Well, the same dancers did not follow them down to New Orleans, to the 504. Instead of dancing, they were crying because they were giving up Wilson. You have to protect the football. You have to protect it at home, but most importantly, you have to protect it on the road. And I know it was a growing pain game for him last week, but at this point in their season, they need Jaxson Dart to be at his best. So they need the Jaxson Dart that we saw against the Chargers showing up week in and week out if they have any aspirations to make this season competitive and win ball games. So that's the question mark for me, is about Brian Daboll being able to get the Los Angeles Chargers Jaxson Dart to show up instead of the New Orleans Saints Jaxson Dart that we saw last week.
For me, it's the perimeter play, and that encompasses the wide receivers and cornerbacks. The Giants run through wide receivers like these teenagers be running through these turnstiles in the subway. Like, they're phenomenal at doing so. So you look at Malik Neighbors, he's out for the season. He's hurt. Darius Slayton is in the doghouse. Jalen Hyatt is in the subway. He's so far down the depth chart, it ain't even funny. And on defense, their cornerback position is where they're vulnerable. They're good at safety. They're good at within the defensive front seven, but they're weaker at corner. And that's where teams are going to exploit them and take advantage of them unless they ship out if the Giants have their way. So if they can get better perimeter play, both offensively and defensively, it works out fine for Jaxson Dart, because we saw how much he missed Malik Neighbors against New Orleans. And now that Darius Slayton may not play, who's going to be that number one guy? That is yet to be seen for Big Blue.
And it gets worse because, of course, the Giants are taking on the defending Super Bowl champs tonight as they kick off our Week 6 action. So a quick test there. If we talk about the Eagles, though, guys, it's been kind of strange, right? They're 4-1, one of the best teams in all of football, and yet Emory, they've dominated the headlines because folks have some genuine long-term concerns about this chemistry in Philly. We kind of saw a similar conversation last year with A.J. Brown reading the book on the sidelines, and everyone just wasn't happy. What concerns, what questions do you have about this 4-1 Philly team?
The offense, I mean, listen, at least they're first in something. They're first in turnovers. They're not turning the ball over, right? So there we have somewhere to build on. But, man, I couldn't be the head football coach of the Philadelphia Eagles, because I would love to match the pettiness of A.J. Brown. Like, all right, you want the football? I will throw you the football 15 times in the first quarter. You better catch all 17 passes I throw at you, because one is going to be my shoe. So at the end of the day, is that he is bringing down the vibes, I feel like, because you look on the other side and see Devonta Smith, the silent assassin. He's quiet. He goes about his business. He's blocking great on the perimeter. And all of a sudden, he's making big catches, big plays in the second half or within the ball game. We know the run game is going to be the run game. So even though teams are keying on Saquon Barkley, that is now forcing A.J. Brown and Devonta Smith and Dallas Goedert to make plays. I think unless their offense starts to look like the offense looked last year, then the Eagles will find themselves in these tightly contested ball games where Jalen Hurts is going to have to put on the cape and help win them a game again. They can't count on extra points and block field goals all throughout the season. They need this offense to really get up to speed like it was last season.
And I'm right there with you, man. This is the only question mark we all should have with Philly, is the offense. Getting these five-star players to live up to a five-star billing. Jalen Hurts is a five-star player. Saquon Barkley, five-star player. A.J. Brown, five-star player. These guys haven't scratched the surface with their potential in who they are as offensive playmakers that we've seen. So what's the issue? So maybe this is the moment for them tonight to have that get-right moment where everything is clicking, because, yes, that tells you how good Philadelphia is. They're 4-1, and their offense has been on 4 flats since the start of the season. Carr is not going anywhere, but they're still winning ball games. So just imagine when that car finally gets to rolling and get out of that residential area and they're on the interstate and they're just floating. It's going to be an entertaining season. They just got to weather the storm, and whatever they need to do to get themselves going, well, do it, because it's time. And I'm tired of talking about what is the problem with the offense, because I'm not in the locker room. I just know they're not putting up the numbers that we know they should be putting up. So that's the only question mark I have with Philly. When will this offense get on the interstate?
I hope we just wait a little bit longer, selfishly, as a fan of the Dallas Cowboys. I just want to wait maybe a little bit longer to like 2026 even. So either way, we will keep it there. The 4-1 Eagles getting set to go to MetLife Stadium tonight, 8:15 Eastern. BMAC, we appreciate the time as we give you one final look at the NFC East games kicking off this week. I just mentioned Eagles-Giants. You also got the Cowboys and the Panthers, a little revenge game for Rico Dowdle. And then the week actually ends with Bears at Commanders for Monday Night Football, with the Commanders a 4.5-point favorite.